Hello, this is part two of the one-handed backhand. Do we keep that firm wrist? Do we have that lock back of the wrist, or can we really whip our backhand? So here we start with some pictures of the movement we will make towards contact and through contact. So this is the preparation with the high racket, and from there he starts to lower down the racket. As you can see, the racket starts to become vertical, and from here on he will start to stretch the arm towards contact. As you can see, the racket now is almost vertical, and here we have the contact point, which is a little more clearer that the racket will be straight. And here we have the ball right after contact, and we can see that we cannot talk anymore about a 90-degree angle. So something happened during that contact phase with the position of the racket. And if we would further now, there is definitely no way we can talk about a L shape or a 90-degree or holding that wrist backwards. And even if he goes further, he still releases it more. So the racket head must have a lot of speed if he can go to that way. It's almost the extension of his arm, the racket. But I drew some pictures, and if there is a firm wrist, or you keep the wrist locked back, then the racket should be on the yellow line, but it's on the red line. And if we check even further, then you don't keep it through the whole stroke. As you can see, the racket is on the red line. If you hold that firm wrist or that locked back wrist during the stroke, then it should be on the yellow line. But listen to some colleagues, what do they want in that stroke?
But there is no flick into contact. So it's a bit of a myth to think you're going to use your hand and your wrist to play a one-handed backhand in general.
I want you to maintain a stable wrist and keeping that tip of the racket over to the left side in that finish position.
You want to extend, you want classic extension like this, and then you can turn the hand over.
When hitting a one-handed backhand, throughout the one-handed backhand, the hand or wrist should be extended, as you can see there. So watch, my wrist is neutral right now, and now my wrist is extended. The wrist needs to be extended, and then there needs to also be radial deviation. You're going to have that wrist extension and radial deviation during the backswing, the forward swing, and you're going to keep this wrist position somewhat throughout the contact phase and the rest of the stroke.
Important to make sure that you keep your wrist back, so the wrist is actually locked back. I have a relaxed arm, but my wrist is in a locked back position. You want to keep the wrist back by help it rotate this way. So you're going to get under the ball, but then rotate upwards, and you have that nice kind of flick almost that you see someone like Roger Federer does very effectively.
So let's check out how efficiently that Federer really keeps that wrist back, that lock back wrist during the stroke, and especially during the contact zone. So here I draw the line where the racket tip starts. As you can see, the man with the sunglasses on the left, I draw the line, and I draw the line where the hand position is. So the man with the cap, these are the two references we will use during this stroke. So the tip starts at the man with the glasses and the hand on the cap. So here we can see that the ball is coming, and the tip of the racket has already moved more than the hand. So every time I will draw the lines, you can see the first line is where the tip of the racket is. So the tip of the racket has already moved more than the hand. And in the next step now, the racket is straight for going to that contact. The ball didn't move that much, but the tip of the racket more. Again, I drew the lines. The first line is where the tip is, the second where the hand. And we can see that the hand is still in the face of the man with the cap. So here we have contact, and the tip of the racket is now with the lady with the blonde hair, but the hand is still on the man with the cap. So let's draw the lines again, and here we see the hand is on the cap, but the tip of the racket is way further now. So there's no way we can talk here about a firm wrist during that contact zone. So does he continue with that racket? And as you can see, the tip of the racket now is further, and the hand is still where the man with the cap is. So is there a firm wrist action? If you ask me, you cannot talk about the firm wrist. You cannot lock it down during the whole stroke. You cannot keep it that way. And if we check, or we did a summary, and the tip of the racket started here with the man with the sunglasses on the left, and it went to the second red line to the lady with the blonde hair. Watch how much distance that the racket head did, and watch how much distance the yellow line with the hand did. So it's the racket head that is moving, it's not the hand that is really going forward. So is there a flick of the wrist? Is there the release of the wrist before contact or way after contact? That's up to you guys.
The wrist can release, but it's going to release long after the ball has left your racket.
So Federer proved this statement wrong, and I will put the first part on how to whip your one-handed backhand in the comments below. And again, thank you for watching.